There's an example that was given to me by Rahm Emanuel at a conference in Chicago. He says, you know, there was this beautiful car that my grandfather had. It was a 57 Chevy. And I wanted to get it fixed for him when I was 16. I saved up all of my money and I wanted to get it fixed for him. And I got it painted. And it was beautiful and it was shiny. And he came out and he was amazed and he cried and he got in it to crank it up and nothing happened. I had forgotten to check to see if there was an engine inside. And then within weeks, all of that paint started to go away because I had not primed it. I had not taken care of the initial problem, but I thought I could improve it and make it beautiful. And I continued to do all of these things to it, and they all faded away because I had not handled what was the immediate issue. It didn't work, and it was broken. So what are we gonna do rather than sitting here with, look at all of these people that we have. These are some of the most intelligent, community-minded people in here, and we're wasting their time because we can't even, we won't even put them in a position to address the real issues.
So if your question is, what do we do?
What do we do?
What do we do to address the systemic racism that we have, not just in this country, but in this world? If we're gonna go there.
Well, let's start with Tallahassee.
And we'll start right here in this room. How about that?
It's been 60 years since Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. delivered his famous I Have a Dream speech in Washington, D.C. Dr. King's vision of justice, peace, and unity continue to inspire millions of people worldwide. Welcome to On Location, I'm Heather Teeter. Today we'll see Dr. King's mission in action as we go to the City of Tallahassee's annual Day of Dialogue event, a town hall meeting that brings together community leaders and citizens to discuss racial relations in Tallahassee. But first, let's go to the scene of the 3rd annual Dare to Dream Festival taking place right here in the beautiful Cascades Park to see how the community remembers the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Usually when you think of Martin Luther King Day, you think about the solemn protest, the solemn march. Today, we're trying to add a little more life to it. We're living the dream today, that the dream is a living dream, that it's not one that is static, that his vision is a living vision, it's not one that's static. But it only comes alive when people like us, and on days like this, we decide to come together as one united, one single community. That's the best way to edify the legendary history of Dr. King.
As you can see, there are hundreds of people out here today, the 3rd annual Dare to Dream Festival. It's a beautiful day in Cascades Park, and let's see what else we can explore.
Touch somebody real quick.
Do I now?
The Dare to Dream Festival is here really to bring together this community. The purpose of it is to make sure that we remember the legacy of Dr. King, the legacy that he left in this community, and that we come together as a community, really. We're so proud this year to actually have a community service project on site. So we're putting together care packages for our veterans, our homeless veterans that are in this community, and so we're so proud that we're able to do that.
It's my understanding this is the first year we've had it in Cascades Park.
Yes, a great venue, a great opportunity for folks to come out on the lawn and to bring their dogs and their kids. And obviously we have a kids zone where folks can come and really enjoy themselves and have nobody's crowded or anything of that nature. And we're just so happy that we've grown to a level now where the City of Tallahassee has allowed us to come out and enjoy this venue that's for our entire community.
I think it's really fun, and I like that there's face painting and there's jumpies, and a lot of people's here, and I'm just saying it's really, really fun.
The weather is perfect. Everyone is out and excited about being here, and it's just nice to be able to celebrate on a holiday.
So tell me a little bit about why you're here at the MLK Dare to Dream Festival.
Because today is Martin Luther King Day, and we're here to celebrate him and his dream.
The speech was, I had a dream that three little children will not be judged by the color of their skin.
Martin Luther King, he basically changed our world. He basically changed everything. Like, he adjusted the city. If it wasn't for Martin Luther King today, many children wouldn't be sitting in schools. Many children wouldn't be able to walk in hospitals, get water, and I thank him for that.
What he changed is he changed that black and white could be together, not separated from families.
He had a dream that he didn't want anybody to be segregated, and he wanted everybody to work together and become a great nation.
Thank you. That was great, by the way.
Exposing young minds to history, it encourages them, it enlightens them, and overall we hope that it will move them forward and become better people in the future.
Today is the holiday celebrating the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And on this day of service, we thought it fitting with commemorating the 50th anniversary of the Voting Rights Act to definitely have our table out again this year.
Our organization is Big Brother, Little Brother Mentoring Program, and we're located on FAMU's campus. And our purpose is to help transitioning high school students to come in and help them with different type of mentoring steps, from academics to spiritual, any way that we can help them on their journey from high school to college, because we know it's a rough transition, it's a different world, and we just want to be able to help them to the path of success. And that's our main mission every day.
Who is a attorney, local attorney and citizen here in Tallahassee, came to me it's been about 4 years ago, and said, there's not enough that happens in Tallahassee on Martin Luther King Day. It's a festival just waiting to happen. there's all sorts of good reasons to get people out and socialize and celebrate diversity. And she single-handedly, I will say that, she doesn't agree, but she went out. I suggested to her that she get a nonprofit board started. She did that, came back, sought city support, and we've been working with her with our Day of Dialogue since then. This is amazing. This is absolutely amazing to have this many people out together enjoying the beautiful weather and enjoying Tallahassee.
Usually during the celebration, I come out every year to the celebration that they have downtown, and this is new this year, so I decided to come out here. I've been on this planet for a long time, and I've seen things change from the white-only water fountains to today. And it's great to see change, but there's still more change to be done.
And what has been your favorite thing so far about the Dare to Dream Festival?
The lineup of the entertainment on the stage. We've just gotten here, but we heard it's a good lineup and we look forward to it.
Presenting one of Tallahassee's premier gospel artists, Mr. Omega Forbes and the Family and Friends Chorale.
inside the Meridian Point building here at Cascades Park to take a look at the City of Tallahassee's Day of Dialogue.
And that is the way that we continue to do business in this country. You know, everybody says we made progress because there was a black president. But we forget that during that progress, the entire wing of the Republican Party refused to show up to work. Have we forgotten already 2009? The entire Republican Senate did not show up because they refused to engage in meaningful dialogue with the president on things he wanted to change. That's not progress. Simply because we move sideways, we think because we're seeing new things. But we have to move forward, and we cannot move forward until all of these type of conversations that we have start at the beginning, which is nothing will change in this country until every single person acknowledges the history of racism, the prevalence of structural racism, where you don't even have to be racist yourself. You can go into a system where they already tell you, no black people are going to get this contract, don't even try. Right? So what are we going to do rather than sitting here with, look at all of these people that we have. These are some of the most intelligent, community-minded people in here, and we're wasting their time because we can't even, we won't even put them in a position to address the real issues.
Let me start with the Imam and have him address that question.
Okay, thank you for the question. I'm sort of an optimist when I look at life. I've come from a real serious situation where I grew up in Jacksonville. And I look at life, I look at the cup as half full. And I take the position that our president takes. President Obama knows and knew what he was up against. Never stopped. And he listened to him call him a liar from the floor of the Senate. He didn't stop. And he never responded in kind. But he never stopped the dialogue. And he never stopped the attempt to dialogue. Because intelligence always seeks the higher ground. And that's the position that we have to take. And I think that's the position that our city has taken. And that's the position I can proudly say that our chief has taken. And we were having a conversation before all of this started, and I was just relating some things to him that happened in an all-black males meeting that I attended the other day. And yeah, we can all talk about the police that. I mean, I remember running from the police, scared I was gonna get shot in the back when I was growing up in Jacksonville, Florida. I got buddies that have been executed on death row, people that I grew up with. But that doesn't make all the police bad. And that doesn't mean that I have to make my approach to the police forever. And when I say police, I'm just talking in general now. I don't think we could keep a negative approach. And I don't think, not saying that the approach is negative, but if the approach is realistic, we can't go to sleep. But I think we have to look at the progress, because it's progress. We're no longer slaves. We're no longer under Jim Crow. We have an African-American president. Yes, that's not totally the fix, but things are moving forward. And it's gonna always be something in the back that's gonna try to pull us back, but intelligent people always keep pressing forward. Dr. King kept pressing forward, no matter how many times he was spat on, stabbed, and all that. He kept pressing forward. So I think what the City of Tallahassee is trying to do is to keep pressing forward, keep the dialogue open, keep the approach to learning who we are, who our fellow human beings are, and invite people to things like this, because this is how it's gonna start. And this is how it's gonna end. We have to talk with one another. Yeah, there are problems that exist, there are structural problems, but we have to talk about it. We have to move intelligently and deal with it, and then we'll continue to make progress. Although it may be slow, but it's progress. It takes 9 months for a baby to get here, but it's progress. You can't see the finished package, you gotta wait. It takes progress.
What are some examples of what you think the community can do in order to create a more cohesive community?
The biggest thing that people can invest is time. It's very easy to read a book, read an article. People who come here to invest some time is a huge step. The more that we can learn about each other and different viewpoints, I think that the Citizens Police Academies that we have, the Sheriff's Office runs a very similar program. It is a great way for people to learn about the police department. It's a great way for the police department to learn about different people in the community. It helps form relationships. I will be very candid because that's who I am, and most of the people up here have had these conversations with me and some of the people in the audience. When we talk about investing time, people have to care. We will have more people show up at a city commission meeting when we're talking about the animal shelter than we do when we're talking about human beings. Now, I've had pets my whole life. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with people who care about their animals and dogs and cats and things like that, although personally I'm a dog person, I'll be honest about it. But the fact is when we talk about funding for the animal shelter, you'll have 50 people show up in an organized effort wearing the same colored t-shirt to sway the commission to try to find more funding. That's great. We have meetings on the violent crime issues in our city. Our violent crime rate is over 40% higher than the state average. We've been meeting for about 5 months. We're lucky to have one person show up that's not part of the council. Okay? If people don't care, apathy is what kills us. People are here today. People marched this morning, one day a year.
Following the Strozier Library shooting, our college minister was on the campus there, and I went down to the area where the students were gathering, and it occurred to me in the midst of the fallout and everything that was going on, the powerful disconnect between some portions of our city and what was going on at Florida State. And in the initial stages, there was sort of a, well, that's the kind of thing that happens in that part of town. And then something happened. People started realizing that some of the children in the library were their grandchildren. And they saw the videos on Facebook that night. In about 24 hours, people started realizing, oh, that could have been my son or daughter. Now, what people like me are trying to do, and I think people like you are trying to do, is to help everybody see every shooting victim as their grandchild.
I'm going back to my audience for a question, and it says, as a community, how do we start to change the focus of that discussion to take a look at women and how we're impacted by race and, more importantly, socioeconomic disparities?
Women have always been not only a part of the conversation, but have led the march and led the charge. We think of Rosa Parks and Sojourner Truth, and we can go all the way back in history, and you will see that women have always played a very important role in this conversation and in the racial fabric of America. So I don't believe that there is a need to change the conversation, but I do believe that women have a more rational approach, perhaps. And perhaps we can lend a gentler tone to the conversation. Maybe we can understand and really bring in the impact that women have and have had on this country in terms of a sisterhood, and understand women have always been able to communicate even when men have not. Women have always been able to have a sisterhood and embrace each other and understand that, the real issues lie in raising our children and making sure that they become productive adults and as citizens in this world.
As our population continues to grow and change, what new challenges does that bring, and how have you responded to those challenges as an educator?
I have to say I'm very privileged to be studying for my doctorate in education at Florida State University. And embarrassingly, I'll share this with all of my wonderful friends in this room. There was a moment where I had a realization that I knew more about Black history because of my fraternity affiliation, because of growing up in the South, because my parents raised me in a Black church, which is the foundation of my belief system and value system. But I didn't know about Latino history. I didn't know about the Puerto Rican civil rights movement. I didn't realize that California, Texas, New Mexico, Nevada, Arizona belonged to the United States of Mexico. And so this concept that Latinos are just now showing up is false. They have been on their land for hundreds of years, and it's important for us to understand that when we travel throughout this country, we know the true story or the full story.
The question that we have now for you in the audience, and many of you raised your hand and said that you are willing to do some things to make a difference in this community to ensure that we have a more cohesive community. What I'd like to do now is to ask you if you will please stay and tell us who you are and what you are committing to do to make this a more cohesive community.
I'm Quinn Kalen. I'm a student veteran at TCC and hopefully go to FSU pretty soon. But I wasn't aware of white privilege until my girlfriend exposed me to that a couple months ago, and I was very humbled when I heard about it, and I was like, that's true, and it took me back a lot. So I'm going to educate myself.
A veteran spoke in here and made the acknowledgement that he wasn't aware of certain things. I'm a veteran and I love veterans. You know, we go to war together, we die together, and we never leave one another behind. So you were in Iraq and Afghanistan, right?
Both, yes.
As an infantryman?
I work on A-10s.
Okay, I got you. I got you. He was over there to make sure that those people had the freedom to exercise their rights. Now he's back in our home country. He's over at Florida State University, and he wants to get involved. He wants to get involved to make sure that our citizens, all of us, there are a lot of veterans out here, young ones, brave, honorable, like this great veteran.
Yeah.
They certainly got the know-how.
Right.
And the willingness and the commitment to do it here in the States. So my point is, bring some more of those colleagues of yours here into this movement.
Absolutely.
There was an article in Time magazine about what your generation of veterans are capable of doing in this country.
Amen.
I mean, it's just not my regular stuff. And I just want to say that to you. I want to thank you for your service.
Yeah.
Thank you first.
And thank you. And thank you for your commitment to democracy in our own country. This veteran feels that way, and it's just great to see the younger veterans coming out and feeling the same way. Thank you.
That concludes our program today. On behalf of the City of Tallahassee, thank you.
As our show comes to a close, we hope that what you've seen today serves as an important reminder of the positive impact one person can make on society. Each year, the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. holiday gives us the opportunity to reflect on the power of one person and the power of doing what's right. Once again, I'm Heather Teeter for WCOT. Thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you next time somewhere on location.